Punya Bharatada. Nana Bandhu Bhagini Yare. Nana Namaskaragalu. Bhagavan Matuswami. Nanage I Avakasha. Kotidake Danyavadagalu.
I was born in the city of Zagreb, in the former country of Yugoslavia. This country once Maharishi Mahesh, the founder of Transcendental Meditation, called Yoga Slavia. Because if we translate this yoga as union, that it perfectly matches this idea, the unity of South Slavs. But unfortunately, that didn't last long, and we broke up in 6 countries. I came from a region called Lika, best known for being the birthplace of greatest Serbian genius and scientist Nikola Tesla. Because of the civil war in the 1990s, my family and I moved to Belgrade, Serbia, and there I finished the Faculty of Philosophy. And immediately after that, I started working as a professor, and been working for 15 years now. Like every philosopher, the question of existence is very deep in me, and something was stirred inside of me. I have intuition of unity. When I found this philosophy of unity, I found a great, like a mountain of gold. And immediately I wanted to share it with the others, because we somehow hold on to religion in duality. We don't understand this monism. I think that the religion must be looked at in this way, not in duality, in dualism. So that's why I founded philosophical YouTube channel All is One, where I present human philosophical thought with special focus to idea of unity. And I created this series, Sacred India, going up from the Vedas until the Transcendental Meditation. In addition to that, I'm an author of 2 books so far, 2 volumes of what is planned to be 5. The book is titled Tattvamasi, my favorite Indian Mahavakya, which directly expresses this idea of unity. In my books, show guest appearances on various podcasts, as well as in my lectures, I point out to people in the Balkans the truth of unity and the need to study and become acquainted with all religions, so that we may recognize each other as the same, not as strangers. In every religion, one can find same essence, the search for the ineffable reality that unites us all, and which most religions call God. My wish is to contribute to the world, to my region, because I think that only constructive future can emerge from this perspective, from this realization of unity. I would now like to move on to part of the lecture dedicated to the metaphysics of unity. If there is a turning point in the course of history, I think it must be the moment when humanity matures, and that will happen only when more fully realize the truth of our unity. Humanity is not only one family, more than that. Being itself is one. From these perspectives arise values and virtues, which are today more than ever necessary for us globally. Metaphysics is one of the disciplines of philosophy called by Aristotle the first philosophy, concerned with reflection on what reality is, not how it behaves, because I think that I can say that science studies that, how nature behaves, but metaphysics is like quest for understanding what reality in itself is. This question is divided into 4 branches. So, metaphysics is divided, as you know, in cosmology, theology, psychology, and ontology. And we will briefly talk about these 4 branches because what I see that every of these 4 branches are saying the same. They all point to the one, but from different perspective. Sorry, I forgot about the presentation. Yes. Yugoslavia, faculty. These are my 2 books. As you can see, The title of the second one is Sveta Indija, and when you see this Sveta, you all immediately recognize the link between Serbian and the Sanskrit. I think in Sanskrit this Sveta, Svetaha, means white, but in Serbian it means holy, it means sacred. And just as Swami told us yesterday, question, ko ham, in Serbian you say ko sam, aham, ja sam, it's the same, but we will talk about it another time. Okay, this is my YouTube channel, Always One. Guest appearances. Allow me to briefly explain my view on how all branches of metaphysics lead us to the same conclusion, all is one. Daya vitu gamanisi. Let us begin with cosmology, the reflection of the world. From the very first Greek philosophers of the 6th century BC, who marked the beginning of Western philosophy, up until today, the question of substance of the world has been posed and explored. Substance in Latin means that which underlies, the foundation from which everything arises. There are two ways of exploring the truth. You can search it outside or you can go inside, but I think that both ways are leading to the same, because there's one book, Quantum Enigma, and its subtitle, it's called Physics Meets Consciousness. So it's very interesting. If you go inside, you explore this consciousness and you get to unitive state. But if you explore outside, if you explore the world of objects, eventually you will get down and see this observer effect and everything with it. It's fascinating to see that from the first philosopher Thales to the modern Big Bang theory and the standard model of physics, we encounter countless theories, 4 elements, 5 elements, atoms, multiplicity, paramanu, prakriti, but also monistic theories. For instance, Thales spoke of water, Anaximander talked about apeiron. Big Bang theory of the primal atom from which energy exploded, and the standard model of physics speaks of 16 quantum fields, along with the dream that one day all might be united in a single quantum field. The topic is vast, so I will shorten it and simply say this. What metaphysics arrives at is not merely atoms, not a world of multiplicity, but quantum fields, whose nose appears to us as particles. This is a great step toward understanding of monism. Today, physicists say there are no particles. Matter is not composed of matter. Everything is fields. Yet even this is not the end. Quantum physics goes further and introduces the concept of information. John Wheeler, American famous physicist, one of the greatest, said, "I used to think everything is particles. Then I thought everything is fields. And now I think everything is information." It is important to note that quantum physics necessarily introduces the observer into its explanation of the world. For example, the famous double-slit experiment, where the behavior of light changes depending on the act of measurement of observation. The essence here is to see that cosmology either speaks of single substance of the world, or of a foundation of a world that is no longer space and time, nor matter, nor energy, but information. And what is information without consciousness? Okay. Conclusion of the cosmology is simple. Substance is one. Ontology, the second branch of metaphysics. Ontology is reflection on being. The most important contribution for me comes from Parmenides, ancient Greek philosopher. Here is a brief outline of his thinking. Reflect. Can something arise from nothing? That is a question, the basic question that we all need to ask. If there is absolute nothing, but nothing without consciousness, nothing without absolute nothingness, can from that emerge something? We can question ourselves even if this nothing actually exists. Like, for example, if we imagine this one vast ocean, can we imagine in this ocean that there is somewhere a space where there is no water? No, it is a continuous ocean. So maybe we need to look at the world that way. Like you see in the cosmos, you say vacuum, but vacuum is plenty of energy. You know, when you see these quantum vacuum fluctuations, there is no one, I don't know how to say, there is no one tiny space of nothingness in this cosmos. It's all, even when you go down, more and more energy you get. Consider Parmenides' conclusions. Because from nothing you cannot emerge something, and something cannot become nothing. Only something exists. And if this something, whatever it is, if this something exists, it must be one. Because it must, this something arise from other something. But they are still the continuous. There is no separation, because in this level separation only would be if you have nothing to separate things. So then can arise multiplicity. But I think in the basis of reality, there is only continuous, there is only one. So the being is one. As we conclude in cosmology, you know, the substance of the world is one. But here in ontology, Parmenides, he concludes that the being is one. And he says this famous statement, all is one and one is all. And this is 5th century BCE, like in the time of Buddha and the time of great rishis. You have a Greek philosopher that he is thinking the same thoughts. Let's go further to psychology, the study of the soul, the self, the I, the consciousness. The essence of ourself, of life itself, must be consciousness. For without consciousness, you do not even know of the existence of the world or yourself. Without consciousness, nothing exists. You can take everything away from yourself, and you, in theory at least, still exist. But if you remove consciousness, nothing remains. Consciousness is the key phenomenon. Today, it is the central topic everyone speaks of. Yet ancient India, in the time of Upanishads, already defined it precisely. They said it like Satchitananda. What is this Brahman? Brahman is Satchitananda. It is the being, consciousness, bliss. In modern science, David Chalmers has defined the hard problem of consciousness. But with knowledge of science, it is more logical to say there is a hard problem of matter. 99% of every atom is empty space. And that 1%, what does standard model of physics says? It is only a node. It is a localization of a field through the collapse of wave function in the process of observation. That's a little tricky, but it is very important thought. It is a very important information. If you know that physicists say all is information, then it seems that we could say that reality is a virtual system within consciousness. And actually, transpersonal experiences, samavesha, nirvana, samadhi, moksha, reveal to us a unitary state, the ocean of one consciousness localized into multiple individual perspectives. There is one consciousness which, like an ocean, manifests as many waves. My favorite example is maybe a river with a main current, and when you can imagine when this current turns back on itself, what it creates a whirlpool. So imagine that our egos, as our personalities, our individual perspectives, are just a whirlpool. And what is, in this example, what should this nirvana and everything would be? Imagine when this whirlpool breaks down, and this back current starts to go along with the main current. So what you will experience, you would experience expanding consciousness. And you will see, and I think that is what the rishis are speaking of, that there is only one consciousness, and this consciousness is bliss. But somehow, these rishis return to individual perspective, to this whirlpool. And we are all this whirlpool. So if you ever think about death, I would suggest that maybe death is only this. When individuality breaks down. But there is not nothing. Nothingness doesn't exist. There is only this main current, there is only this river, so there is only what Swami says, pure consciousness. So there is really a great possibility for me, because I don't know it, experience, I know just through my intuition, my logic, that there really may not be any death. The key insight is the philosophical realization that we do not live in a material world. That is the most important information. But in a world of information, of spirit, of consciousness. In philosophy, that is called idealism. Especially, I am interested in this monistic idealism. Everything is consciousness-based, but in reality, consciousness can be only one. And one quick example that I can share with you is when I talk to my students and I ask them a question, pinch yourself. And when they do that, they feel pain. So I ask them, is this pain that you felt the same pain as he felt, or another? So think this through. Not in quantity. Quantities can be different, but in qualities, in qualia, subjective experience, is the pain one and the same state of consciousness? And they say, yes. But if the pain is the same, then our happiness is the same. Our sorrows are the same and all that, but if all states of consciousness, it's the same, consciousness is the same. And there can only be one consciousness. Erwin Schrödinger, in his famous book, said it, like, there can only be one consciousness. And then he spoke of Upanishads and everything. Pritya prekshakare, dayavitu, gamanisi, idu nana matana, mukya bhaga. That leaves us with theology, and the answer imposes itself. That one substance, that one being, and that one consciousness. That is one God. That is the only true existence, is it not? And if God exists, then only God really exists, nothing else, only God. And that is, only Brahman is real. Theology reveals God as one. If you look at theological theories, sorry, just to see if I can, this is hard problem of consciousness, okay, transpersonal experience, theology. You will see that once there were polytheistic views. In India, even today, there are many gods. Is that not so? But what the West does not know is that India is the land of idealism. And behind all those deities lies one infinite consciousness, Brahman. All is its manifestation. India relatively acknowledges multiplicity, but India is the oldest monistic philosophy. And that is why, to me, India is sacred land, a truly Mahabharata. Polytheism can be easily reconciled with monism, for many gods represent aspects of one nature. Yet nature is not the highest truth. It is creation, the world of objects within consciousness. Polytheism must develop further. So we see from polytheism came monotheism. The key is to see the further logic of even monotheism. There are no dualities. You must ask yourself this question about subject and object, and you must come one level down, and you must see unification of these two dualities and polarities. So monism is the key. It is not that there is one God, but that God is one. Not the dualism of Madhvacharya or of Sankhya. No, beneath it all is unity. The philosophy is called in Judaism, Islam, and Christianity panentheism. Not that God is everything, but that everything is in God. Studying India, I realized that religions are essentially philosophies of parinama. And parinama is philosophy of transformation, philosophy of manifestation, emanation of God. And this is a beautiful Kashmir Shaivism and mystical Judaism. This is Sufism, Christianity, and this is your beautiful Shuddha Dvaita, Vishishta Dvaita. One transforms into many, but still staying the one. All this is a God, a manifestation of God. Just like in example, if we imagine the water in its three states, but it's the same water, but in different states and perspectives. So I think that this parinama philosophy and all world religions are only just this, that one being is transforming, let's say, himself into multiplicity, into everything. And that is, so we can easily say, all that we see is just one, actually. But it's like a hand and the fingers. One, but expresses itself into many. But perhaps truth lies even beyond monism. And only beyond monism is non-duality, the Vivarta philosophy. All is appearance in consciousness, Maya, illusion. Multiplicity in truth that does not even exist. There is only the one, but in the illusion, or to say play, of many, like a dream. Though in a dream a world appears, in reality it is not there. It is only borrowed existence. There is only one consciousness within which the dream appears and disappears, is created and destroyed. For all that is manifested is appearance, while the real never appears. The real is the truth. Truth does not appear, but always is. Let me see. Okay, parinama, panentheism, and Vivarta, non-duality. This is Advaita and Buddhism, the only teachings that reveal non-duality. This is the moksha of Advaita, nirvana of Buddha, and I think Rigpa of Dzogchen. So remember, when you speak of unity, you must distinguish two perspectives. One is monism, one transformed into many, and the other is non-duality. There is only one, and appearance of multiplicity. You can memorize these two subtle philosophies through two examples. Monism, you can imagine like a tree, like a trunk of the tree, and the branches and the leaves. And that is, like a God becomes these branches and these leaves. And the Vivarta philosophy, non-duality, best example is this dream example. Like in your dream, what you can find? You can find your first perspective, yes, first person perspective. You can find your avatar, you can find the world, you can find many people. But in reality, it is only one mind projecting itself into this appearance of multiplicity. So that's the best example for Vivarta, for non-duality. In any case, okay. In any case, theology teaches us God is one. Thus, let's go back. We realized cosmology says substance is one. Ontology, being is one. Psychology, consciousness is one. And theology, God is one. So what you have? You have 4 times 1. But that is only a 4 times perspective, 4 different perspectives of the one. 4 times 1, it's only 1 from different perspectives. And that is a thought when I explode, when I realized that. Then it became for me much easier. And then I explored everything else. Heraclitus, famous Greek philosopher, said, "It is wise to agree that all is one. There is one, but it appears to us in 4 perspectives. Whichever path you take in life, scientific, religious, artistic, or philosophical, you will always arrive only at the one. If you go outside, you'll come to the notion physics meets consciousness. If you go inside, you'll awaken inside the ocean of consciousness. You will come to the same conclusion. Also, whichever religion you follow, you will again arrive only at the one. Even if you are a polytheist, everything is but the different aspects of the one." And that is the most important thing, polytheism, many gods. But yes, what we're speaking about one nature and different aspects. Again, one. But my point is that whatever you do, in life, if you pursue scientific life, you will come to this. Through cosmology, you will come to this notion of oneness. Philosophy also, religion, all religions are like pointing out to this truth, transcending yourself like ego and awakening into this oneness. It's very interesting that also art and sports point us to the same conclusion, because we heard yesterday, I think that Maria is the name from Poland, and she spoke of transcending the ego. And what is the best theme? The best theme is when these individually, separated players, when they transcend and they act as one. So then you have a will. Then you have like 5 fingers, but one will. And they are the winners. If you have 5 perspectives and 5 autonomous, I want this, you will not win. So even sports teaches us to transcend ego, individuality, to become a part of a team, and that is how we win. So, in brief, please, I would like to just in short mention what I have researched. When you see all this history of religions from Vedas, this is like India, like East, Vedas, Upanishads, they always speak in Vedas, for example. They have this Parabrahma, Eka Atma, they have this. This is the first philosophy that spoke of oneness. And you have Upanishads, these philosophical commentaries on Vedas. And there you see these Mahavakyas. And there you see Brahman, Tattvamasi. There you see Satchitananda, Neti, and everything. Hinduism, Buddhism, it is very important to research one by one. Because, for example, in Hinduism, you have at least four sampradayas. In Buddhism, you have Madhyamaka, Yogacara, Vajrayana, Zen. You have a lot of things to explore, but I think that they always lead in the same direction with little subtleties. So, my favorites are Kashmir Shaivism, Buddhism, and Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta. But I like also Sikhism. In Sikhism, they speak of Ik Onkar. They speak of Akal Murat. They speak the same thing. Taoism also from China. And when you look in the West, everything starts with this Atenism. I know you heard of Tutankhamun, yes, but you need to know about his father Akhenaten, this 18th dynasty Amarna period in Egypt, and there was a religion reform when this Akhenaten, he wiped out the Egyptian religion and polytheism, and he introduces the monism, because there are statements that he speaks of one that becomes three, and three that becomes all. To conclude, let us speak about themes of values. The crown of the theme of unity. The theme of love and service and the theme of unity are not connected by accident. They are in fact one and the same theme. Love and unity are two sides of the same coin. Love naturally exists wherever unity is found. You love your children the most precisely because you share an identity of unity with them. You are your generated selves, aren't they? Love, as all religions point out, most clearly Christianity is the cause, reason, essence, and the goal of all existence. Unity and love therefore lead humanity toward the realization of universal values. Humanity is one, but in the absolute monistic sense and in relative biological sense. Recognizing the truth is the only thing that can lead us toward the constructive future. Christ said, "You shall know them by the fruit." You should know a tree by its fruit. If that is so, then look at the idea of unity. Imagine if you are unsure whether it is true. I don't like dogma. You don't need to be dogmatic. Be open-minded. Imagine if you are unsure about it. Then look at its consequences. What happens to people who see everything in unity? Do they become evildoers? Do they lose connection with life around them? No. In those people you see an increase of compassion, of love, you see ahimsa. Here the evangelical message becomes clear. Love your neighbor as yourself, because you are your neighbor. There is only one, but in different perspectives. Let us conclude with the finest words there is, him to love. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but do not have love, I am nothing, more than a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. God is love. God is sacred and secret unity. So, serve all, love all. Jala ranu pretisi, jala ranu se visi. Yes. Nanamatu mukisuva munče. Šuba dajek, pranau, Gunashvi, Matu, Victory Ge, Danyavada Helutene. And Danyavada. Just one more thing and I am finished. Thank you. Pritya Makale, Sadguru Gala Matana, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, Madi. Isandesha Dinda, Nivu Vishva Prajigalu Agutira. Thank you.